you guys don't know us, obviously. So I thought it'd be great if we get Ashley to tell the story of how we actually connected and how we met over a decade ago. So this is essentially how we met and how everything got started.
I remember this story in greater detail, which is why I'm telling it.
Yes, exactly.
Because there's something that stands out.
Yeah, she remembers it way better than I do, so that's exactly why.
So the story of how we met is an interesting one.
It's a funny one, guys.
Yeah.
Be prepared. Yeah. Be prepared.
So we're both at a gym over 10 years ago. And I see this guy pacing up and down, pacing, walking from one end of the room to another. And I look at him and he looks very nice. But then I see his face and he looks very young. But I see in his hand is the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And as soon as I see someone holding something like that in their hand and looking worried about their life, frankly, I'm thinking to myself, like, what's their story, you know? So I think I asked you, like, what are you reading? But furthermore, to explain the context behind why he cared so much about this book. And he tells me that he's at a crossroads. He's in between, you know, knowing where he wants to go with his adult life and following a really conventional path that his family has wanted him to take. And from there, just developed series of conversations about everything unconventional that the world really doesn't seem to want to support you embracing. And I vibed with that, you know, because I have a similar mindset and a similar path. And from there developed really a 10 plus year friendship where I think a lot of our connection has been around our shared core values and the idea of, you know, trying to figure out what way you want to go when that way isn't prescribed.
When the path isn't very laid out. It's not very clear whatsoever.
Yeah. Do you want to add to that, Berta? Yeah. I think the cool thing is people find each other who are on similar paths or they're eventually meant to do something together. I think that's why we initially crossed paths years ago. I think the universe had a plan for us. It just didn't tell us when that plan would fully get into action or turn into a thing, which it is over a decade now later. It's true.
So I think it's super cool. And yeah, when I was that young, I was just full into self-development. My head was in books. I did not like books when I was younger. I absolutely hated books. Hated. So much so that my mom was like, when are you gonna start reading? And then all of a sudden at 18, 19 years old, I'm finally like, my head's in the books. I'm an absolute bookworm because I'm like, if I want to level up my life, I need to be looking at what the experts are doing. And I need to be looking at like, okay, what are people doing that are really successful? Yeah. And all that information, the best information at that time was in some of the books. Yeah. So I was like, I have to learn to read.
Yeah. I feel like you just knew you didn't want to go the traditional path, the traditional way.
Yeah.
And what I admired at that time, and I always have since then, is that you got to work to figure out what worked for you. Like no matter, even if there was a blank space where you didn't know which way you wanted to go, you worked really hard to try to figure it out when the path wasn't clear.
Absolutely.
Yeah. That's how you've been.
The relentless, resilient attitude came through. Yeah. It's just like, never fucking give up. Never give up. There's a path for you out there. There's something out there for you. There's a partner out there for you. There's a path. Everything's out there for you. Yeah. You just have to be willing to go get it.
Yeah. And then I feel like since then we've just supported each other on the different parts of the journey, right?
Yeah.
Like
you're gonna hear when we get into our stories. Ashley's the reason why I got my butt out of my parents' place at the age that I did, even though it was a bit later in my eyes. But she was one of the main catalysts. She was one of the people that in my life that was like, Matt, you need to leave the nest. You need to go. She just kept saying, you need to go. Every time I would complain about my environment, she'd be like, you need to go. That's the story of guys about how myself and Ashley met. Yeah. Over a decade ago.
Been like a friendship that I think is rooted in supporting each other through the good, the bad, and the ugly.
You read my mind. How did you do that? I don't know.
I know you.
Yeah.
In unconventional, like, because we take risks in our lives. And when you take risks like that, you need people that have your back. And you
Absolutely.
need people that are going to understand. Even if they don't understand, they're going to empathize. And I feel like that's always been a safe place for you and I, right? Say, like, I may not have it figured out in this moment, but this is what it is. Okay, cool, you got this.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
A little safe haven for each other.
Yeah.
You guys are going to learn more. You guys are going to learn more when you hear about our stories next. All right, so in this pilot episode, Ashley Cole shares the raw truth behind the movement.
Yeah.
You better share the raw truth. I swear to God.
I will. What else do I ever share? Let's be honest.
Why connection has become a lost art. Absolutely has. And how the path back starts with you. She was born in Toronto and raised in chaos. Ashley Cole's early life was marked by addiction, abandonment, and incarceration. Absolutely crazy. But the story didn't end there. It was rebuilt. Painfully, intentionally, and powerfully through grit, mentorship, and education, and an unrelenting drive to rise. Along that journey, Ashley Cole lived on 5 continents, getting a raw human understanding of what connects us across borders. The need for love, belonging, and purpose. With degrees from top institutions, star child over here, a background in leadership and business development, training and life coaching, with years of coaching people through deep personal transformation, Ashley Cole has lived every step of what she teaches. In this episode, you'll hear how surviving in a maximum security prison as a teenager became a turning point. How pushing through darkness, not around it, became the foundation for relentless courage. And how building Fix Your Fate, this thing that's right here somewhere,
Right here, yeah.
somewhere,
Right here.
isn't just a luxury. It's a human need.
Yep.
One the apps have failed to deliver. Fix Your Fate isn't just a podcast. It's a rebellion, a return to real, a reminder that confidence is the decider. The voice matters, and that healing starts with knowing who the hell you are before anyone else swipes right. This is your co-founder. This is your guide. This is someone who didn't just study transformation. She lived it. You can because they did. And now it's your turn.
I believe with every fiber of my being that challenges are the end of nothing, but they're the beginning of transformation. And they're the beginning of personal power if we choose to look at them like they're not ends, but they're the starts of something really amazing.
Mm-hmm.
What makes me say this is my life. I left home when I was 15 years old. At 17, I found myself on my 17th birthday that in a maximum security prison.
Woo!
And walking through the courtyard, literally in handcuffs. The sun coming to my eyes from the barbed wired fence that was at the side of me. I had one of those out of a movie moments where the sun hit my eye and I said, holy shit, never again. Never again will I ever be in this kind of trouble in my entire life. It will never happen again. Never again will my life resemble this level of chaos and powerlessness. And at that moment, I never looked back. From there, I got to work trying to fix what was not even really a functioning life. I was young and in so much trouble that I remember making a list of things I had to fix and crying from that list at that age. I was so lucky at that time to be at a high school where I had a teacher who really had been trying to help me at that point for about 1.5 years. And when I got out of jail at that time, I really started to tune in to the things she was saying. And I remember one of the things she was saying was always, you know, I want to shake you, like you, the decisions you make. Yeah. Yeah. So I turned my life around. I ended up getting honor roll status.
Woo!
Yeah. I made my way to university.
Mm-hmm.
But at that time, I hadn't dealt with any of the emotional crap that was left over from my childhood, which was rough. And I remember traveling the summer I turned 19, being in Ireland, and having a total realization that while I had done well for what I had been through, I knew nothing about myself at all. So that was when I started to get to work in reading and writing. I love to write. I would write like crazy, and I would just read any self-help book that was out there that existed at that time. And one thing that I realized I needed to do was check myself into rehab. Because I was playing with addictions that were leading me to a path that I would eventually have self-destructed on.
Yeah. You would have regretted it.
Yeah. So on my own accord, I entered rehab. One of the best things I ever did. And again, that was a moment where I said to myself, never again. Never again will I ever be in a situation where something is, you know, driving my life to that extent, to that way.
You don't want anybody else in the driver's seat.
Yeah, or anything else.
Not
right?
anything else either.
So at that point, when I made that decision, I didn't look back. That was, I'd say, the second sole decision that I made with my life, where I was like, never again. Never again. So I entered university, and I decided I'd become a teacher because I wanted to help the kids that were like myself and my...
Just like you.
Yeah, and my beautiful friends.
Yeah.
That I grew up with. Wonderful people. And I did become a teacher. I went to U of T. I started taking on leadership roles. I worked for student council. I was involved in research projects. I was killing it. I did really well.
Academic.
Yeah.
Scholar.
Yeah.
Turned everything right up on its head.
Yeah. So I would travel every summer, which ignited my love of travel. Really, I would travel every summer.
You got addicted, let's be honest.
Yeah, I did. I really did. And I loved seeing the world beyond the one that I knew. And I would look around, and to this day, when I'm in a new place that I've never been before, it's just, I'm amazed. I love to learn about, you know, all the different ways that you can live. There's so many.
All the different cultures.
Yeah.
Everybody is completely different. You go to Vietnam,
Beautiful.
you go to Dubai, you go anywhere else. Completely different
beautiful
culture.
But yet similarities.
Yeah.
In that I've learned that I've experienced, I've seen, we all want to be seen, understood, and loved.
Absolutely.
And that beautiful thread intertwines everything. So, yeah. So I'm in university, struggling financially, but I get through it.
You making it. You getting through it.
I get through it.
Yeah.
I become a teacher. And for the first while, it's amazing. I remember saying to people, I love my job. I love my job. And then slowly, the education system started to become something I didn't recognize. And there were core values that it became clear were underlying the system that didn't sit well with me.
No.
So I went part-time as a teacher eventually. And when I went part-time, I fell into a network of entrepreneurs very unexpectedly. But what I found was a likeness and a similarity that I couldn't even have planned for. It was just like a total alignment.
Mm-hmm.
And
it's like the stars aligned all at once.
Yeah. And it was so unexpected. I was really happy. Really happy. So I ended up working for a health and wellness company called Avizera in business development. Beautiful company. Left teaching and was traveling, and
you were crushing it.
Yeah.
You're telling about LA. Oh my God.
It was good. It was really amazing. I decided at that point I would pursue a master's degree in educational leadership and policy at U of T because I was interested in forms of leadership that can be very, very powerful and can catalyze change.
Mm-hmm.
So I did that. And I'm doing that. And a dear family member goes through a heart-wrenching divorce, which I take a leadership role. You took the bull
by the horns.
Yeah, which I take a leadership role in supporting and in some ways, just really being a dominant support from start to finish in the process. And throughout that process, I learned so much about what separation and divorce can bring and can do and the challenges that arise from it. And it was just such an eye-opening experience for me.
It's one of the hardest things that somebody can go through.
Yeah.
We were doing research, and it's one of the hardest things a human can go through.
Yeah. It was...
I'm here.
Thank you.
Go away, Siri.
So I really learned a lot about what divorce and separation, the challenges, the heart-wrenching challenges that can come from that.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a huge learning experience for me.
Mm-hmm.
And, today I'm here.
You're alive.
Yeah, I'm alive.
You're alive through all of these experiences.
Says, and I know that my life is a testament to the fact that you should never give up.
Never, ever.
Even when you think that hope is lost, there could be something right around the corner that just changes everything.
Yeah, it's like that. It's like that analogy of you have the two guys that are digging for diamonds. Mm-hmm. There's one guy up above and there's one guy down below. Mm-hmm. And there's one guy, he's just so close. He's literally like this. He's like this freaking close.
Yeah.
And then he's like, okay, I'm done. And you see the other guy going slightly farther and getting ever so closer, and he just doesn't give up. Who do you think is going to get the diamonds? You can't just stop. You keep going until you hit diamonds. That's how you do it. My story isn't as cool, but it's a bit of a different kind of story. Might resonate with some of you. Ashley's story, she had a lot of ups and downs, and she was resilient through the entire thing. Her story may even resonate better with you. But our hope is that us telling you our story is going to help you get to know us better, and at the same time, you guys are going to be able to feel a little more connected to us, which is the goal. So that's that.
Okay, so I'd like to introduce you to Matthew Lewis Gallant.
What's up, guys?
My co-founder in this mission, this Human First mission. So guys, Matthew's journey is all about resilience. From adolescence to entrepreneurship. Heartbreak in grade 11 actually is what sparked his self-development journey. And that's where he started to discover discipline, grit, and the courage to fail forward through fitness. So in rapid succession, Matty navigated shifting identities from aspiring athlete to a personal trainer before creating his own unconventional path and relentlessly following it and following his own voice. He left the traditional classroom, built real-world experience, and defied expectations. He landed a personal training role without a degree, like the real Mike Cross.
That's how we do it. That's how we do it. If you know, you know.
By 2016, A hike at Zion Canyon was life-changing. He was on a hike at Zion Canyon. It was life-changing. And it ignited his pursuit of freedom, leading him to leave his 9-to-5 and launching a marketing agency, teaching him the value of pivoting, resilience, and perseverance. So after a failed startup, Matthew found his creative calling in photography. It's awesome. Then
That's a camera right there.
Then survived his darkest moment in 2018 when suicidal thoughts nearly took hold. A spontaneous job call saved him, and for 5 years, he built a foundation in operations, recruitment, and leadership. He took the leap into entrepreneurship in 2023 and ultimately teamed up with me to co-create Fix Your Fate, an antidote to disconnection built from shared purpose and grit. Matthew's learned firsthand how to find your way back to your strongest, most authentic self, no matter how many times life knocks you down. I'm honored to introduce him as my partner and co-leader in this mission.
Let's go. Okay. Before I could start coaching you, I think it's important that you understand the depth of my story, just like you have with Ashley. So we're going to go through the long version of my story now. So sit back, grab your favorite beverage. Maybe it's a coffee, maybe it's a tea, maybe it's something that I should know about.
Margarita.
Maybe a little margarita action, right? So go grab that and let's get into it. So as you heard before, my story started way back in high school. That's when everything really kicked off. It started with heartbreak. I was traditionally a nice guy. I grew up in a family where I got a lot of my values and I got a lot of my traits from my mother. God love my dad, but my mom and my dad are very similar in how they operated. My mom was the queen of the house, you could say. She wore the pants, so I adopted a lot of those traits. So that showed up in a lot of my relationships. Unfortunately, got a little bit heartbroken after my third relationship in high school. And from there, that set me on a self-development journey. And I was a washed-up athlete. I had dreams to go to the NHL. I love Matt Sundin, love the Leafs. I had dreams to go to the NHL, but that, unfortunately, wasn't in the cards because my parents didn't have the money to send me to the bigger teams that required a much bigger budget for their kids to play in those leagues. So I rolled that out. I looked at firefighting next, wasn't an option. Then I looked at what I was currently doing after that heartbreak, and I was like, you know what? Maybe I can do something with this working out thing. Maybe there's an opportunity for me to like teach people how to do this because I was obsessed. It was my entire personality. When I mean entire personality, it was all I talked about. People were like, do you talk about anything else? I was like, no, just working out. Like if you don't want to talk about that, okay.
Like
there's other people.
It.
Yeah, I fucking wholeheartedly embodied it. Yeah. Like in my entire personality. So having said that, I got in. I decided, you know what? Let me please my parents. Let me do the thing which every kid wants to do, and they want to follow what their parents say. So I was like, you know what? Let me find a program that's in line with fitness. So I found a program called Fitness Self Promotion at Humber College. Applied for that program, got in, left high school, jumped into that program. I realized about the final semester, so this is about a year and a half into the program, I realized that I was wasting my time. Just so you know, I, like Ashley, absolutely hated the school system. I just didn't fit the mold of the school system, and we were the odd one out. We were little black sheeps. And I was like, you know what? This is just not going to work. Like I could have done a weekend certification, 3 days, 4 days, and I could have got my PT cert, and I could have been working. So I was like, this is a waste. I was at it with my teachers at the time. I just wasn't feeling the curriculum. I thought it was the biggest waste of time, and I wanted to make money, as you can probably relate. Like you want to get out there, you want to start making money. I was like, I'm wasting so much time. I want to make money. Let's get it done. So I was like, you know what? I know my parents are going to absolutely hate this, but I had to drop out. For the next couple of years, my parents were at my neck. They were at my neck to go back and finish, but I decided in Matty G fashion to prove everybody wrong and just go get the job that required the degree without a degree. So I was working at Lifetime at the time for a long time. My second or third job. This is my third job at the time, was a lifeguard. I was already in at Lifetime, and I'd done an internship through the Humber program as a PT, and I was like, you know what? let me go ahead and just apply for a PT job. I know they require a 4-year degree, and I'm not going to have a 4-year degree, but let's do it anyway. So like Mike Ross from Suits, I defied the odds and got myself a PT job and I was the only PT that didn't have a 4-year degree at Lifetime. Only one. They never hire people that don't have a 4-year degree in kinesiology. So I was the only one. And that's that.
To the dismay of one of your coworkers.
Yeah, to the dismay of one of my coworkers
who
commented to Ashley on it, because as that we knew each other at the time through Lifetime. That's actually how we met, was through Lifetime, as we mentioned before, and from there, I am moseying on with my Lifetime career. I was getting some new clients. I started building a business, but unfortunately, I was getting towards the summer within my first year of being a PT. So I think it was about 6-7 months into my PT journey. I was a burnt out personal trainer. And the reason being is I was burning the candle at both ends. I wanted to make a lot of money. So I was like, I'm going to take clients at any time of the day. If they want to work out at 5 a.m., I was training CEOs at 5 a.m. and 6 a.m. If they want to work out at 4 to 8 p.m., which is like the 9 to 5ers, I would train them as well. And then in the middle, I had my own thing, but nobody wanted to work out in the middle. So as a personal trainer, you have to work around your client's schedules. So I realized very quickly that I was wearing a lot of hats. I was doing the marketing, the sales, I was doing program design, and you just did so much. So I got a little bit of a taste of business before actually getting into business. Little did I know that would be the next step that I would take. And how did I get there? I decided to take a trip, and I'd never been outside the country. Never been outside the country. Again, my family is they're very safety and security oriented. You have two styles of families, ones that give everybody freedom and the ones that are geared towards safety and security. Most are geared towards safety and security because of the state of the world right now. So I decided, you know what, let me just take this trip. I'd never been outside the States, and I was just like, this is epic. I was like, you know what, this is gonna be awesome. I get to go on a road trip with my friends in the States. I ended up in Zion in Utah. Zion, Utah was right before we got into Vegas. We were going to a rave in Vegas, and we wanted to go to the Grand Canyon as well. But right before we got into that stuff, I was in Zion Park in Utah. There's a notoriously dangerous hike called Angel's Landing. Funny, it's the irony behind Angel's Landing is that I was about to embark on one of the hardest journeys I've ever been on in my life in that next chapter. And it was started out by hiking that insane trail, that insane hike up to the cliffside. Mind you, Angel's Landing, if I put some pictures on screen, you literally have like 4 foot on either side. It's a straight down 400-foot drop. All you have is a chain going all the way out. So I was standing up on the cliff, and it dawned on me. I was like, you know what? I love this view. I want to do this every single month for the rest of my life. This is what I want my life to be like. I want to be traveling and enjoying myself, and I need to figure out a way to do this. I don't know how it's going to happen, but I need to figure out a way to do this. Right before that trip, I stumbled across the opportunity through one of my clients to make money on my phone. So he came to me, he was like, Matt, I have this cool opportunity. Have you ever wanted to make money on your phone? I was like, what is that? You can make money on your phone. So I was like, you know what? Let me check out this making money on your phone thing. Little did I know that there was actually a truth. I was like, you know, when I get back, we'll check it out. Yeah. And from that moment, I was like, hey, I got a couple things to do when I get back. Let me check out this making money on your phone thing. Let's see what that's all about. And then the guys that I ended up meeting up with, we ended up working for a company, essentially teaching people how to actually copy trades from people that were experts. This is the financial markets, how to do trades, etc. Long story short, that didn't work out. That didn't pan out. That same group of guys that we were doing the marketing and the sales for that company, we decided, you know what, we're pretty good at this. I think we can start a company and do marketing and advertising. And social media was taking off. We had Ty Lopez in his garage being like, I'm in my garage with my Lamborghini. And he was promoting starting a social media marketing agency. So we're like, that sounds like it could work for us. We had an office. We had a team that was already willing and hungry to do something. So we decided to do that. Little did we know that it was a lot more work than we anticipated. And it's when you are doing it almost like affiliate marketing for somebody else. They run the business, they take care of all that stuff, and you just handle marketing and sales. As soon as you take on an entire business, you start wearing a lot of hats. And you don't realize that you need to keep cash flow going and everything, and it's not as easy as it looks. Business looks like it's all fine and dandy, and being an entrepreneur is glamorized, but it's a lot more challenging than you think. And we learned that pretty quickly. We learned that really quickly. So about a year into that journey, we had accumulated a lot of debt. We almost got sued by one of our clients who was a lawyer. That was a fun experience, getting a lawyer as a client and then getting sued by the client for a breach of contract. So that was fun. That was a lot of fun. So we were like, okay, maybe we should just go back to the drawing board and let's figure this thing out. So we're like, okay, let's go back to getting a job. Let's go back into the workforce. We need to fine tune our skills and get us back to a point where we get our head above water. And again, we were still kids at that time. I think I was like 21, 22 at that time. Yeah. And again, starting a business that young, again, hats off to me for doing that. But that I didn't realize what I was getting myself into. Yeah. So let's fast forward to.
Good for you for doing it.
Right?
Yeah.
Right. So after that, I ran into a couple of different people. So through my connections, I got a couple different jobs. I got a job in landscaping. That contractor I worked for him for a number of months, refused to pay me. And I just said, you know what, screw this. This guy's not going to pay me. Screw that. During that time as well, so that over this period that I was into finding a new thing to do with my time, I stumbled across a guy through one of our clients. He had a coffee startup that was in Brantford. We'll get into that later. And he was like, come work for me, come be a manager. So I was like, okay, cool. Like, how much does it pay a month? He was like, okay, $2K, like, do like $500 a week. This guy, long story short, only paid me like about $1,000, and it was like 3 months. That's all I got paid from him. So he owed me money, didn't pay me what I deserved. And again, just another bad fizzled out relationship. At that same time, the bright side is after that summer where I got back to work and I got back on the horse, paid back some of my debts, I found through all that darkness that I was going through with those 3 different opportunities, when I was working with the English contractor and it wasn't going wrong, it started going wrong. And at the same time, when it started going wrong in December, I got an opportunity through a buddy of mine, called me up, was like, hey, Matt, and I had a camera at the time, just a little Canon 60D. Had a camera at the time. He was like, Matt, I'm going away with my girl. This is Josh. Okay. Josh, reach out to you, buddy. I'm going away with my girl down south. Do you want to take this corporate Christmas party gig? And I was like, dude, I don't even have a flash. Like I had a little Canon 60D camera. I didn't even have a flash. So I told my boss at the time, he was in the truck when I got the call. I was like, Kane, I need to go at Henry's. We need to get a flash once we're done the day. He's like, totally cool, man, no problem, in his English accent. Got that, went in and did that gig. Like 2 days later, this was like Tuesday, did that gig 2 days later on the Thursday. I absolutely loved it. I've never had more fun in my life. Never had more fun in my life. And that night I found my creative outlet. Normally you need something that you can do that's creative. You need something that's gonna like essentially like make you money that you can do. But you always need a creative outlet. You need something that you can use that. I think it's the left or right side of your brain. I'm not sure which one it is. But you always need something creative that you can do. So whether that's writing, whether that's podcasting, whether that's, you need something for a creative outlet. So I found that, and that was my saving grace through that really hard period, was finding that, latching onto that. And I was like, man, I can make money doing this. It was only $150 for the gig. It was only $150 for the gig, but I was like, I can make money for shooting photos. This is awesome. I was in love. With it. So again, going through that, I had another business partner at the time that I linked up with. I started doing a lot of photography for him, found him through a connection. He gave me a handful of shoots to do, started running his creative operations. Long story short, he owed me $3K, didn't want to pay me for it when the business started taking a bit of a downturn. So I was like, okay, well, if you're not going to pay me, like, I can't do any more work. I gotta go.
Hasn't paid you to this day, I think.
Still hasn't paid me to this day. The English contractor also owed me $3K, still hasn't paid me to this day. And again, that other guy that I worked for, again, same thing, owed me money, didn't pay me to this day. So that period, I lost a lot of money, and I learned a lot about, again, standing up for yourself and just understanding your worth. That put me on a path where I was like, I don't even know if I want to. I don't even know if I want to work anymore. Like, I've gone through so many different opportunities. I don't know if I can do this anymore. During that coffee opportunity, I'm on the train on the way home, and that the boss had just reamed me out. I'd done something horrible, and he had reamed me out. I'm on the train on the way home, and I'm just like, I have tears come down my eyes. I'm like, I don't know what I'm gonna do with my life. I was like, at this time, I was just going through I've gone through so much pain up to that point. So many different like dreams had essentially failed me. I had failed at business. I had these new opportunities that I was jumping into that just weren't having it. The photography hadn't even gotten started up, but I saw a little bit of hope in that. But I was still like, fuck, what do I even do? How do I even get customers? I didn't know where to go. And there was something inside of me on that train ride that just said, just like, don't Don't go the suicide route. Don't do that. Like, don't end your life. You're here for a bigger purpose. You need to just keep trying. You need to do something. Just give it one last go. Is what I had.
You're under your rope.
I was at the end of my rope. I was just I was in so much pain, like mentally, emotionally, and especially my family at the time. So the big thing was like that was triggering for that side is like, I'd gone through so many opportunities and my family was pressuring me to go back to school, and they were like, why don't you just go back, get your degree? And I didn't want to do that because I was so against the system. And I was trying all these things, and my parents were like, it's not working out. Like, it's for a reason. Like, you need to go back to school. Like, do that. And I had so much. I was getting pulled in so many different directions, and I just couldn't take it anymore. So I was like, you know what? Let me just apply. Let me just try this one more time. And I'm very grateful that I did. The day after that bus ride or that train ride back to Mississauga from Brantford, because that's where I was at. I was spending 2 hours a day going up there. That's what I mean as well.
Yeah.
I was not getting freaking paid, and I was spending 2 hours to go there, 2 hours to go back. It was ridiculous. But that phone call saved my life. So I was on the train and I was like, fuck, if something doesn't work out, I don't want to live anymore. I just don't want to do this. So that phone call, I got it from a Scottish guy, funny enough. I could not understand what this guy was saying. Shout out Darren Campbell. I did not understand what this guy was saying whatsoever. He called me on the bus, and the bus is pretty loud. And he said, do you want to come in for an induction? I was like, interview? He said, no, induction. I was like, okay, like, he's 3:00 tomorrow. He's like, I'll text you. 3:00 tomorrow, induction, be there. It's at this address. No problem. Show up, and I was like, what do you, like, there's no interview? He's like, yeah, you got the job. You're good. You're in. I'm like, okay, cool. He's like, can you start tomorrow? I'm like, at this time, I was so fed up. I was like, I sent a message to the coffee shop. I was like, I'm done. Peace. And I was like, I'm out, and I'm starting this new job tomorrow. So started with them, and little did I know that would be the opportunity that I would be stuck into for the next 5 years. Little did I know that I would absolutely love an opportunity that would be labor. I did not like. Sometimes it's the opportunities you least expect, and you just gotta say yes. Yeah. You know. So I said yes to the opportunity. I found a company and a culture that I felt like I belonged, and I got paid what I was worth. So the kind of person that I am, I work my butt off. Anybody that knows me, I work like a bat out of hell, and people think I'm a bit crazy sometimes. Even this one over here, we both think we're a little bit crazy. But
we both know.
Yeah, we both know, but it's the right way to go. It's the right way to go. I'd rather be working my butt off than anything else. So I moved up into that company a fair bit of times. I moved up. I went from frontline team member to a site manager to then running recruitment, and it was essentially a business education over the course of those 5 years. $65 million company. They knew how to run their shit. Sometimes it's about saying yes and just learning from the best in your industry. Something that I would recommend is find somebody that's doing what you want to do and ask if you can be their second, or ask if you can shadow them. Work for that person and that's in that role that you want to be, and you will learn more than any 4-year degree can teach you. Mind you, for some things you do need a degree to for example, government jobs, all that kind of stuff, and you need that to be able to go into those industries. Do that. But if you don't, there's another way. There's always another way. So during that time, there was a crucial moment. I was complaining about my home environment. So this is the fun part. So I was 2018, 2019, I was making money back. I was crawling back out of the hole. And I was getting to a point where I was like, okay, cool. My life's now on track. I'm making good money. I'm starting to accumulate, and I'm feeling good. And it was around 2022, and I'd known Ashley up until this point. Ashley for years, I think it was like 5 years straight. She kept saying, "Matt, you're complaining about your environment. You need to move out. You need to go." So Ashley moved out at 15, and she was saying, "Matt, you just need to get out of that environment. If you're complaining about the environment, you need to get out." So that was one of the. I looked at that as one of the most scary decisions I've ever made. It is very scary. It's a scary decision. But it's one of those decisions that you need to make for you to be in a great set of energy. Like in order for you to grow, you can't be in an environment that is not conducive to your growth.
Changes everything.
It does. So, and the funny thing, it was Ashley. Ashley was in my head for the longest time. Matt, move out.
you.
Matt, it's just go, just leave, go. So I'm very grateful for her. She was one of the ones that helped me take that big next step, because I didn't have a big brother. I'm the oldest of three. Again, my parents were like, you can stay home. It's okay. You can stay home and do it. There was no push to actually get out, but I needed to get out. So there was a girl that came into my life. Again, thank God for her as well. Between her and Ashley, they were the catalyst. She came into my life, and I was like, man, I really click with this girl. I can't have a relationship with a girl that I really love. I can't have that in my parents' house. It's just not going to work. The kind of person I am, and how I operate, I like to have my space. I like to have privacy, and I wasn't going to do it. So between those two, that was the big ignition to take the jump out of the nest, if you will. And we did it. We got out of the nest, and I look back and I'm like, I should have made that decision a lot earlier. Right when I was moving out. So I moved out to have more space and privacy with this girl that I was like, oh man, she must be the one. Like, I had a connection that was out of this world with her. And I decided, in true Matty G fashion, Ashley knows I'm the romantic type. So true Matty G fashion, I decided to go old school, write a little love letter to ask this girl to be my girlfriend. Delivered the letter. Wasn't the reception I wanted. She was like, oh, it's really cute and everything, but not right now. We've been dating for about 4 months, and my heart was just torn out again. So I was just like, you know what? This is the second time that I built up the courage, and I was like, let me just go back and get it. Let me just try this again. I feel like it's the right girl. Had the courage to do it. Got my heart ripped out again, and I was like, you know what? There's something I must be doing wrong. So I was like, let me see if I can find a coach. Let me see if I can find somebody that can help me with this. Because when you've tried everything yourself, that's at the point when you've tried everything yourself, that's normally when you go and find a coach, or you go and find somebody to do it. If you can't fix it yourself, it's time to find somebody that's already been through it to go ahead and help you fix it. That knows the blueprint, that knows the strategies. They've been through it all.
Save you a lot of time.
That will save you. Exactly. They save you a lot of time, energy, heartache, all
pain.
of that. Yeah, they save you all that. So I've been listening to a podcast, and the one reason why I got this girl was because I had taken all the knowledge I got from this podcast and I put it into my game with women, understanding the psychology, being able to banter, being able to build connection. I had learned a lot from this podcast. Unapologetic Man podcast, Mark Singh, shout out to you. I love you, dude. And then I decided, you know what? I got so much darn value from this podcast, from him. I was like, you know, he has a program. Let me see how much it is to invest in this program. This is in December. Again, I'd started dating a couple of girls, but I didn't have the same connection, and I was fed up. I was like, I need to make an identity shift, or I need to make an identity shift. And the only way I'm going to do that to get to the next level is if I invest in somebody that's been there and done that. Yeah. So in December of 2022, I took out a loan, because this was expensive for his coaching program. I took out a loan. I'm not going to keep it kosher with Mark Singh's program. I'm not gonna let you know the price, but it was in the thousands, just to let you know. So I took out a loan for it. I got invested in it, and it was an NLP based program. It flipped all the belief systems I had in my head, fixed what was going on in my brain, and I started seeing better results in my dating life because of that. Now, with that as well, that essentially allowed me to shift my identity, embody a more masculine frame, as well as a more masculine identity in general. Again, like I mentioned before, I adopted a lot of the feminine energy and a lot of the traits, and I embodied a lot of those. That was my dominant energy. And as a man, having feminine dominant energy is not good. Your dominant energy should be masculine. You're always going to have a balance, but it should be dominantly masculine. So I needed to learn that. I learned that through my coach. Everything started changing. Now, let's fast forward let's now get into 2022, going to 2023. I had started fixing my dating life. I had the safe job and I was happy. I moved out. I was happy. I was still working on the girl, but again, I wasn't satisfied in my job. I was feeling like I was stuck. You know, when you feel like you're stuck, and you're like, man, I want to go. Like, I want to move. Like, you're like, I love the company, but I'm not happy. Like, I'm an ambitious person. If you're an ambitious person, you can probably understand. Me and Ashley are both very, very ambitious. So I was like, you know what? Maybe there's something out there. So I started looking. Funny enough, December 22 rolls around the same time I invested in the program. I had a previous business partner who came to me and was like, hey, my 2 partners have left. They decided they're gonna quit the business. I have 50% of the business that I could give you if you want to run it back and run this market agency thing again. I was like, you know what? I think I'm positioned. I'm in the right place. I'm in the right headspace. I know how a business should be run based on my experience with the YG opportunity and in the multiple roles that I did with them and how I moved up and whatnot. I saw how they operated. I was like, okay, I have more confidence this time around. I think we can do this. Let's just run it. So I spent every waking hour outside of my 9 to 5 working that to get it to a point where I could then jump off. Fast forward to summer of 2023. Fast forward to summer of 2023. That same employer, COVID's down. We're in the shipping and logistics industry, and I was hiring for that company. Because of the slowdown, they didn't need as much recruitment anymore. So they were like, Matt, you have 2 options. You can either go down and you can work in containers, essentially getting demoted, which I was like, no, I don't want to do that. No chance in hell. I want to be demoted, or we can essentially lay you off. You can just do your own thing. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna take the doing my own thing. Guys, lay me off. Give my severance package, and I used that and I reframed that opportunity as an opportunity to lift off, essentially take off. Tony Robbins, if you know Tony Robbins, he has a saying called "burn the boats," and burning the boats tends to be very powerful. It's essentially getting yourself to a point where you have no other options but to succeed. If you burn the boats, you can take the island because you have no other choice. It's going to light a fire under your butt to make sure that you could go in, you can take that island. So I thought that was the best thing to do is let's essentially burn the boats. I'm not going to get another job. Let's just go all in. Let's see if the extra hours that I have in my day, if I put them to the right places, I put them into sales and marketing for the business, we'll be able to grow the business to a point where I can replace my income. I was not at that point at that time where I was able to replace it. I just had faith and I took a jump. There's a saying in entrepreneurship where you're flying a plane or you're trying to take off the runway and you essentially, you start the plane, you go, and even if you haven't got the plane fully built, you just take off, you go off the runway and you hope for the best as you go off a cliff. And you build the darn plane on the way down. So that is entrepreneurship in a nutshell. I decided, you know what, it's time, let's do it. And I was like, you know what, I will figure it out. I'm the kind of person, and Ashley is as well, where we jump and we figure it out. So that is what happened. Fast forward to February 2025. Me and Ashley are chilling on the couch, and we are
big comfy couch.
The big comfy couch. And we were talking about the state of the world and some of the biggest problems in the world that we were seeing. We were talking about our friends and our family and what we were seeing, common patterns as we do. And we realized there was like, I wanted to start a podcast myself around personal and professional growth. And Ashley at that time was like, I want to do something. I want to do something to fix this problem. I feel like I'm called to fix this.
I had a lot of friends who were going through separation and divorces, a lot. And knowing what I had experienced before, I thought that, there's a lot of people out there that really need support and help and, just dealing with that transition and that phase of their life. And then just generally, the world in and of itself has become severely disconnected, and almost like, technology and all that it brings with it is beautiful on a lot of levels, but on the other hand, it's really caused a lot of lack of connection.
It's caused a lot of problems. And that's when Fix Your Fit was born, February 13th, 2025. And that's when the journey started. And next we're going to get into the nitty gritty of the problem that we're here to solve. we got some, for all our nerds out there, we got some science to bring to the table as well to show you guys that this isn't just all talk. This is a big problem. There are companies that they've kind of been trying to fix it, but they're not doing a good job. So we're like, we can do this. We understand it.
Yeah, it's a problem across generations.
Yeah, every single generation has different problems.
Yeah, and different sets of very unique traits, characteristics towards that problem. It's very interesting, actually.
Exactly. So that's what we're going to get into next. So we've done my story. We're going to get into the problem we're here to solve next. Again,
thanks for sharing, Maddie.
My pleasure. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And just an aside, doing this exercise, it's created, like, we've found that this is a true calling for Ashley and I. This is a massive calling. Like, we've found our mission and our purpose in life. Our true mission, our true purpose is this. This is the biggest problem the world's facing, and we believe we are the best people to lead the charge and fix it. All right, so we're back into it. As you can see, it's dark outside now. As you see, there's a little bit more shadows. We took a break. We had pizza for all the pizza lovers out there. Me and Ashley love pizza. It's our thing.
Love it.
All right, so there are many parts to your journey that we spoke about today. Which parts of the journey make you feel the most inclined to do the work that we are doing with Fix Your Fate?
Yeah. So the saving grace of my journey really has been human connection. So the house that I was growing up in was filled with tension. The people I was growing up with, the friends, the peers at school, were almost the exact opposite. I was so lucky. When I look back at the friends that I had when I was very young, and even the friends that I made in later years in high school, but we're talking about my younger years, they were fun, edgy, supportive. They stood in as family. They were like loyal as fuck. They were like, it's amazing when I look back at the kids I grew up with and how they were almost able to be supportive in ways that were beyond their years. I had a boyfriend when I was really young. He was amazing. We were kids.
Shout out to the boyfriend.
You know, shout out to Brad. But, you know, he had my back. He watched out for me. So I learned by having those friendships where I also played competitive soccer. So I would travel to tournaments with teammates and their families. I would, you know, like I got to know their families really well as well. So the friends I had when I was growing up, the people I played soccer with, the boyfriend I had, all of that culminated in an understanding that, okay, here's where I'm at in this household. But that's not the only way to do it. I didn't know what I was going to do with my journey, but I did know when I was at a really young age that there was another way to do things. And the way that I learned that was human connection. And the way that I saw that there was hope in the world was from the relationships I was blessed enough and lucky enough to have when I was young. And then fast forward to high school, same thing. Shout out to anyone.
Shout out to all you amazing people.
Yeah, I grew up with these amazing human beings. Like, they were just, you know, and some of them are still, you know, a lot of them actually, we're still in each other's lives, and it's like family, you know, at this point. But knowing them taught me that what I was experiencing, you know, the cards I was handed were not the typical cards. That was not the state of the world. That was the state of what I inherited. So I know the power of connection because in many ways it saved me.
Very much so.
Further, I had a teacher in high school who fought for me.
She advocated for you? Yeah,
she advocated for me. She, you know, tried to get me to get my shit together before I was ready.
Which is huge. You don't have a lot of people that are not family that are not doing that for you. So that's...
And I had many. Like, well, I mean, my peers were not fighting for me per se to get my shit together. We were all in shit together. So that's the difference.
You were up
right?
Shit Creek together.
But they loved me.
paddling.
Yeah. We were all in trouble, and quite a bit of it all the time, right?
Yeah.
And some really serious trouble. But no, this teacher, she when I was 16, she decided to, I guess, whether consciously or unconsciously, you know, tried to, they wanted me out of the school for many different reasons. And she advocated for me. She helped, you know, she helped me. And so after being in jail on my 17th birthday, when I decided I was going to get my shit together, I then returned to that because she had been urging for probably about a year and a half at that point, like, what are you doing? What's going on? Like, what are, you know, she remarked later, like, I thought that was going to be a wasted life, you know? And when I look back, she was so young to be doing that work for me. I can't believe how young she was. As an adult, you see age differently, right? At the time, she's older than me. Anyways, what's my point? I had this amazing human being like fight for me. So all of that culminates in me understanding the power of human connection in a way that I think is really unique, and in a way that's really, really powerful. And so I think that puts me in a position to do this kind of work because I've attuned so strongly to human connection throughout my entire life. Mm-hmm. I know its power.
Yeah.
You know?
You're a living proof that human connection is powerful. It's healing.
Yeah.
It's so many different things.
Yeah.
And I don't think too many people, like, especially if you're young, you haven't had a chance to actually experience real human connection. And I think that's what the world's missing. That's what we can agree the world is missing most of right now is human connection.
Yeah.
I think we went through a couple things, but we may have missed one important thing. And we've said it said it in conversations before.
It's true.
Do you want to touch on that?
Yeah, so when it comes to human connection and the power of human connection, reviving, levels of connection in what's become a very disconnected world, Matthew and I often talk about the power of having strong friendships with people of the opposite sex.
Yeah, strong human connections with the opposite sex.
And I was talking to Matthew earlier today about the men and the males I've been blessed enough to come across in my life, some who are my biggest supporters and are like brothers, really. And, and just, like are so beautiful. I'm tearing up when because it's just, I'm so lucky to have some of the men in my life that I've had for a long time, really. And in many ways too, continue to pick up and, meet different people and bring them into our friend circle. But I've had a really, in so many ways, positive experiences with male friends and even romantic partners. And I know that at times, the collective culture can be tough on male-female dynamics, as if men and women can't be friends, or and it's just I don't know anyone else's experience. I don't know what is right, whether they can't be, but I know my experience, and my life has been so much enriched by the friendships I've had with males from when I was young and until now. Do you know? Yeah.
I was going to say I've had in every chapter of my life, from all the way back from, I didn't have any elementary, but in high school, I had some really strong female connections, and they were really great friends of mine. Yeah. And I learned so much about females, how they operate, what they desire, what their needs are from a male counterpart. And I didn't even need to be the boyfriend, but I learned the dynamic is really important. So I think you don't just need to have a romantic partnership with people. Underneath the surface, everything starts as a friendship. And then you can add that intimacy aspect on top. And that's just like a cherry on top. But ultimately, the best partners, they are best friends. Yeah. Right? Yeah. And then they add the intimacy portion on the top. So what's wrong with being friends? What's wrong with it? Society's painting like male and female dynamics as an enemy. I think it's super beautiful.
So do I. Yeah. We were talking about that I really believe in men. I don't know any other way to say it, but I've seen some really beautiful versions of the masculine in my life, right? And you can't negate what you experience.
No, you can't.
So, I know at times that collective culture will speak to the downsides of the masculine and the cruelty at times, and I'm not saying those things don't exist. But what I am saying is I've bared witness in my life to a lot of really wonderful men, and that I believe in men. I really do. I really do.
Shout out to all the men out there and all the amazing females out there. You guys are awesome.
Yeah.
So there's ultimately there's the 80-20 rule, right? There's going to be a select group of men that are just like, they're not good masculine. Like they're horrible. And there's going to be that 20% of women that are the exact same thing on the other side. There's bad in both ends. The beautiful part is that 80% that are great people.
Most people are good people.
Yeah.
Sometimes, always imperfect.
Yes.
Sometimes deeply flawed.
Yeah. I don't know anybody that's perfect. I don't
often
know anybody
insecure.
that's perfect.
Human beings are often insecure, but I do believe too 80% of people are innately good.
Yeah. It's just we can't take the 20% and label the 20% as everybody. We can't put everybody in the same bucket. That's the wrong way to go about it. And if you do that, you're missing out on a lot of great connections by doing that. Ashley, why do you think people are struggling so much today?
I don't think there's one particular reason people are struggling. I think it's a combination of things that have created almost the perfect storm. We read in some of our data that post 2007, when technology went from being an accessory to being a dominant force to becoming a dependency, and with the rise of social media, I think the brain and the body both seek patterns, and the body becomes comfortable with active patterns. For example, scrolling, even that action, right?
And that chasing of dopamine.
Yeah, so there's the prominence of technology, the growth of technology, the
convenience.
Well, and that too, right? Like the pandemic. No one I know was not changed in some way by the pandemic. And during the pandemic, there was forced isolation for almost 2 years. And then it was about 2.5 before things actually got back to normal. So you have Zoom meetings that were once in-person meetings out of necessity, but post-pandemic, they become, and it's understood that they're comfortable, right? So we may not travel to the room in the same building, but we'll hold a Zoom meeting, or we don't want to drive for 20 minutes and, but there's comfort to be had in that, but there's also connection to be lost in my opinion. So I think the pandemic really got us into patterns of isolation, generally speaking. And the last thing I think is the state of the world is, Tony Robbins talks about history being such that if you look back, you see that if you look way back at history, you see that the world is actually improving in increments over time. I don't know. I struggle with that sometimes, but what I do know is the way that the world is right now is overall a really fear-based place. There's a lot of anxiety. There's a lot of economic struggle. There's things going on that make people afraid on primal levels. And so when you take those three elements and put them together, it's the perfect storm to say to yourself, I don't want to be vulnerable. I can't be vulnerable. I don't know how to be vulnerable. And something that you've taught me is that humans may not even know. Some people may not even know how to connect. They didn't learn how to connect or and something your story speaks to, as well as mine, is that you can choose to transform, but potentially people don't sometimes believe they can. Like you sought a coach when you weren't where you wanted to be in your dating life. Right? So you learn different ways of connecting by actively seeking outside help as an adult.
Yeah.
Right? But, people may not know how to access those resources or believe they even need the resources or, so I think it's really those things. I think the growth of technology, the pandemic, and the state of the world makes it very challenging for people to say, okay, I'm willing to be vulnerable.
Yeah, big time.
Guys, we're back on a different day, but what hasn't changed is we're still asking the University of Toronto to follow us. It's day 974 of asking U of T to follow us. Please follow us.
Yeah, this is our one ask. That's it. That's all we want, guys.
Thank you.
Right now, we are dealing with the biggest epidemic of disconnection this world has ever freaking seen.
Which is really why we started what we started. As we mentioned in the first half that we filmed, the reason why we started this company was because I was talking about what I was noticing about Gen X going through separations and divorces and dating post-separation and divorce, and the craziness of being in an online dating world after being in relationships for decades. And Matthew was speaking about, do you want to?
Yeah, I was speaking about it as well. And I was saying, I'm seeing all my friends, there's so many people that are having so many issues with relationships, getting ghosted, not being able to talk to strangers, not being the scariest thing in the world. I've seen people at the dinner table that I know when they're with their friends on their phone, their phone when there's people in front of them.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Absolutely nuts.
Yeah,
and
I've been at dinner tables where every person's on their phone.
Which is crazy.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. And myself and Ashley have both seen this, and we are big advocates of human connection and building relationships and putting the human first before this dumb thing that we have that creates a lot of convenience, but it's also almost like the enemy at the same time.
And we understand the power of human connection in our lives.
Yeah.
Really uniquely.
And Ashley's story showed that. My stories also showed that as well. And we want to essentially show other people that it's possible to get back to the roots of who we are as humans.
Yeah. So we're on a mission to revive human connection. And the first thing that we've spoken about, that we've noticed, is the topic of loneliness. And I think that's a topic that most people don't like to address because there's an awkwardness about that. And you'll often hear people say that they feel angry or that they feel sad, but rarely do you ever hear people say they feel lonely.
Nobody wants to admit that they're lonely.
Have you heard people ever express to you?
I've never heard anybody say that they're lonely.
Yeah, but you have heard that they're sad or that they're...
Yes,
right?
and they'll say everything else because they don't want to point at the elephant in the room.
Yeah. So the article by the CNBC cited that 85% of British Gen Z citizens said that they felt lonely. And furthermore, that they expressed anxiety as a barrier to in-person socializing.
Yep, and we've actually seen this in real life. We've seen this happen in our friend group where myself and Ashley will go into a social situation and we're like, why are we the only ones that are going out and meeting new people, and we're going out and talking to strangers? And everybody else is afraid. It's crazy.
I've been fortunate enough to teach a lot of the Gen Zs and learn a lot from them, actually. And one of the things that they express is that there's two lives that they live in. They live in an online world and they live in the in-person world, and they're feeling a lot of anxiety. They're feeling a lot of pressure. They're feeling a lot of pressure to perform perfectly, actually, in their daily lives. And they're feeling a lot of loneliness in culmination with all these things. That's a really lonely world to live in, right? To feel all that pressure.
That's crazy. The fact that you think you have like two online lives. Can you imagine that? Like, how do you even have one life? Like, one life is enough. Like, I have two lives?
Yeah.
I gotta live two lives. What is
but that's
this?
the digital world, right?
That's nuts.
That's the world that we're living in, yeah.
Yeah, that is nuts. And those were the exact words that some of the Gen Zs have told Ashley. We have two lives, one online and one offline. So if you're a Gen Zer, drop it in the comments. Let us know if you're feeling that way.
The CNBC actually released an article that says that Gen Z, 85% of Gen Z generation that live in Britain say that they're lonely. And that anxiety actually prevents them from socializing in person.
That's huge. You guys realize how big 85% of the Gen Z population in Britain is? That's massive.
Yeah.
That means like 15% of people are actually like socializing in real life, and there's 85% that are not even able to like build that human connection.
And that also brings us to something that you and I have talked about many times, is that, and Matthew's said it, that people don't even know sometimes how to really socialize.
They don't know how to connect.
Yeah. And maybe they don't know how to connect because we use our phones so much, and so much of our lives are spent behind a screen. And this takes us back to the inception of our company on my end, where a lot of Gen X that I'm seeing is getting separated and divorced, now find themselves back on the dating scene in a world that's digital.
It's completely different.
Largely digital dating.
Yeah.
When, for decades they've been with a partner, and now suddenly, in order to find someone, they're behind a phone. Whereas when they were growing up, before they met their person, it was in person. Mm-hmm. And what Matthew and I have found by doing our on the street interviews is that every single generation is facing their own unique set of problems with human disconnection.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's why we're on a mission to revive human connection.
Abso-freaking-lutely.
Fix your fate.
Yeah. Can you believe it? We're not the only ones that are steering the conversation and creating buzz around the loneliness conversation that nobody wants to talk about.
I'm sure UFT is doing a ton of studies about it.
but we're still waiting for them. Let's get into the figures and the people who are spearheading the talk about loneliness and actually speaking up as it is an epidemic, and it's something that so many people struggle with, and they have fear of actually saying I'm lonely and speaking up. But the first step in fixing a problem is growing awareness of the problem and understanding that and being vulnerable and saying, like, I'm feeling this problem too. And that comes down to some of the quotes that we're going to go into next to really show you guys. These are some of the people that are spearheading the movement.
And hasn't everyone felt that problem?
Yeah,
right?
I think.
I don't think there's one person.
If you haven't felt lonely in your life, you're not human. I'm sorry, you're an alien. You're a little alien.
Yeah. Yeah. So Brene Brown, who most of us probably know, and I deeply, deeply admire for her research, her bravery, her courage. So much respect for the work that she's done. She talks obviously a lot about connection and belonging. And one of the quotes that I love from her is, connection is why we're here. It's what gives us purpose and meaning to our lives. Mm-hmm. And she says that the core thing that we need is a sense of belonging and a sense of connection. And that without it, we literally are going against our biological disposition.
Mm-hmm. Belonging is the antidote for loneliness. Yeah. If you feel like you belong, in line with my story, in line with Ashley's story, you feel that sense of connection, and that literally erases that feeling of loneliness when you feel like you belong. I found that through my journey, through joining a company that was absolutely amazing, made me feel like I belong. And then within Ashley's story, she's also gone from like, okay, fuck, I don't know if anybody's on my side, to you found some amazing people that made you feel like you belong.
Yeah, the luckiest thing in my entire life is who I've met. The hardest thing is who I was born to. The luckiest thing, I wouldn't, it's funny because then I don't think I would have met the people I've met if I hadn't been born to who I was born to. Mm-hmm. But I was actually shown in my life how important human connection is, So Brene Brown has another quote. She says, "We are biologically, cognitively, physically, and spiritually wired to connect with others."
Yeah, it's part of our human nature. Back when we were primitive tribes and when we weren't civilized, we didn't have a roadcaster, we didn't have a podcast set up. We used to do primal things. Part of that would be connecting around a campfire and sharing stories. Yeah. We've been sharing stories for generations, and sharing stories is how we connect.
Yeah.
Building connection, it comes down to relating to other human beings and being able to understand and have empathy and experience these emotions. And the way we can do that is actually having deeper conversations, as opposed to the shallow level stuff that comes with social media and, again, being in this swipe right culture, right? So,
like, have you ever had the experience where you're going through something and even just having someone say to you, hey, like, I get that, I've gone through that too, and sharing their experience, and you feel a sense of like, you feel a sense of ease, but you also get data about how to progress through that phase of your life in a way that you can come out on the other side because someone else has done it. But when we're always behind a screen sharing in that way, we don't get the nuances that we get in person.
Yeah, we also don't feel you don't feel the energy. There's a thing called an aura. We have a cool aura around our body. There's a wall between us, but at the same time, like, our auras are interacting. Your auras are around your body. When your auras interact, that's when you get the chemical releases your oxytocin, all your fun hormones that make you feel really good. When you hug somebody, you do it. I challenge you, do a 20-second hug. Do a hug for 20 seconds. You will feel absolutely amazing. If you are not having a good day, you do a 20-second hug. I promise you to God, you will have a much better, like after that hug, you'll feel like a new person. But that's because you interact with somebody's aura, and that released oxytocin and all some of these other feel-good hormones. So let's jump in with a little bit of Tony. If you guys don't know who Tony Robbins is, what are you doing with your life? Go look him up, Google him, and like literally go binge all of his stuff, okay? Like that's your homework. Like stop watching our stuff, go watch his stuff, but then come back to our stuff, please.
Tony, come to our stuff.
Yeah, Tony Robbins, come watch our stuff. Actually, we'll be on stage with Tony one day. Tony, this is a shout out to you. We're gonna be on stage with you. We love what you're doing. We've learned a lot from you, and now we want to help you on. We want to help you on your mission of changing millions and millions of lives. We want to join the mission. Let's go.
Tony says the quality of your life is the quality of your relationships, which is huge, because I feel like today often we measure the quality of our lives by what we're consuming, producing, what money we're making, but the thing is
everything is so transactional.
Yeah.
Everything is so transactional. I've learned so much from Ashley in terms of relationships. I've got all my, like, I would not be the man I am today if I didn't learn so much about relationships from Ashley. She's taught me a lot, and she's been able to shape who I am and how I show up in my relationships. And I want to kind of break it down, because there's like, right now we live in such a transactional world, a world that says, I'm not going to do this for you unless you give me this. And that's the wrong way to live. Yeah. When you go into a relationship thinking you're just gonna take from somebody, they're gonna run so fast. Yeah. Relationships are built through the time spent, the connections you make, and actively working on continuing to build that relationship and grow it. Just like pretending you're a farmer and you're watering seeds. You're gonna have your top 5 in your circle. That you should have a top 5 that you're spending your most time with. You need to actively water all those relationships. Mm-hmm. If you look at your top 5 people that's essentially your support system. If you are not actively asking them to hang out, doing their thing, like, what are you doing? Yeah. What are you doing?
A teacher once told me we take the shape of the containers we place ourselves in.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah. And Tony says we're destined to need connection, love, and a sense of belonging. These are not optional.
Yeah. And who does that come from? Your support system, the connections that you have. You have 5 of the most important people in your life. That's your support system. Those are your connections. Those are the relationships that you should feel most pulled to build and create meaning in, and be able to foster them. So
the question is, today in our world, are we really collectively in spaces where those relationships are being nourished, are flourished, and furthermore, for the overall topic that we're identifying in Fix Your Fate, which is reviving human connection, but in the context of romantic relationships. In a swipe right culture, I call it swipe a person. In a swipe right culture, right? Are we really placing ourselves in the kinds of positions to build the relationships that are going to truly feed our souls? Or is it transactional? And do people become disposable when you can take a look at a screen and swipe one way and never see those people again? Here's something that I've often asked myself about swipe culture. If you see someone's face on a screen and you read a little profile and you say to yourself, not for me, but had you met that person in person, had you seen the tone of their voice, experienced the pheromones, had you heard,
had you heard their story?
Yeah, like right? And there's always people, I think every single person has had the experience, I know I have, of meeting someone, even a new friend, and being surprised by how much you vibe with them. Have you ever had that experience?
Oh, amazing.
Yeah.
You would look at the person from the outside and you're like, oh, I would never. It's like on that Netflix show where they got a guy to walk in. He was in some weird outfit, and all the girls decided pop the balloon right away. I mean, this is a guy's not for me.
Yeah.
As soon as that guy opened up his mouth and he said his story, one of the girls was like, I want to take my balloon back. I want to take my balloon back.
Yeah.
And she was like, oh, don't worry. We can work on your outfit. Don't worry. We can fix that. after she heard the story.
Yeah.
But that's because we've been taught through the apps and our technology and everything. Like, this is the devil, guys. This is the devil. It provides a lot of convenience, but it's also the greatest barrier to connecting, and it's teaching us the wrong things. It's teaching us that people are disposable, i.e. our swipe right culture. It's teaching us that convenience is more important than time spent. On the topic of loneliness, we had a pandemic not too long ago. If you guys didn't remember the craziness of the year of 2020. And what's super crazy and blows my mind is the fact that we still have the same habits that we had during the pandemic, that we were told to isolate, stay away from people 6 feet, do online meetings, do FaceTimes instead of meeting in real life. All these things, all these habits and stuff that we built for over like 2.5 years, we kept them after the pandemic. I don't even know why that is.
Yeah.
Before that, we were connecting, we were human, and now everybody's decided, oh, I'm gonna still FaceTime instead of going and having an in-person coffee meet, or I'm gonna essentially the online meetings aspect.
We've traded connection for convenience, and at what cost? If we need human connection to flourish, at what cost are we utilizing convenience today, post-pandemic?
Yeah, everything. I think our entire culture has moved to convenience. We want everything faster. We want everything cheaper. Even our connections. We want them. We want the cheaper connection. We don't want to actually go see somebody on a date. We prefer to do a FaceTime with them, and see if we can connect. But the real connection doesn't happen unless you're actually in person in real life.
And I've heard people of different generations, largely younger generations, talk about even when they do go out on dates, it's not the way that maybe Gen X would have experienced dates, where, you know, it's going for dinner, spending the evening together, you know, doing an event or something, right? It's maybe meeting up for a coffee or, you know, like, and so you lose something in translation when you're not spending that amount of time together.
Yeah. And I think we've lost out, and especially Gen Z, God bless them, I think they've missed out most on getting the reps in. Because when you're dating, when you're having conversations, when you're socializing, your dating muscle, you have a dating muscle, believe it or not. That is the power to socialize. That's the power to flirt. You have a muscle, you have to exercise it. If you use this guy to cheat during your exercise and connect with a person who is literally a screen. If you look at this person on there, that's a screen. You're trying to connect with a screen. That's impossible to connect with somebody through a screen, in my opinion. Probably in Ashley's opinion as well. It's not the same. Yeah. This is why we have Freaky Fridays here at the crib.
They're there. They're there. Gen Z also largely went to high school during the pandemic, right? So you have kids who started grade 9 when the pandemic hit. You have kids that were graduating from high school during a global pandemic. That they had their graduation ceremonies where you have cars driving through the neighborhood honking, right? So you have a generation of people who are now growing, who a lot of their formative years was during a global pandemic. And so what does that do to the way that human relationships are formed if some of those formative years were spent in isolation, forced isolation?
Yeah, it's huge. Right? And that creates a lot of loneliness, because we've been taught that the phone is a great way to connect. It's a convenient way to connect. Mark Zuckerberg came out with Facebook, and he's like, this is how we're going to connect the world. The most false statement I've ever heard in my life. And again, technology is our enemy. It's convenience, and that's what is ultimately creating so much loneliness in this world, because we are getting so darn addicted to our phones, which is absolutely crazy. We can't believe it. Like, literally, it's insane.
So Simon Sinek says, trust starts with telling the truth, and that leads to real connection.
Yeah, we want to be vulnerable with you guys. So, and our stories, and people that we bring on the podcast as well. We want to get them to be vulnerable with their stories. Yeah. So you on the other side don't feel like you're alone in this journey. I have a bone to pick with the dating apps. I don't know about you, but I have a bone. Maybe multiple bones, and this is not no funny bone. I have a bone to pick with the dating apps. And since I've been on the dating apps more than Ashley's very much so connected in real life. She's not very fond of dating apps. When we were doing a research, she jumped on for a little bit and then she was like, oh my God, this is absolutely horrible.
Yeah.
And
nearly killed me.
Because I used to be that shy guy. I used to be that guy that would sit in the corner at dances and wait for the day to end. I was so introverted. And I've gone through that transformation where I've turned into an extrovert. And one of the things when I was in my introverted journey, I saw the dating apps as a way out. I saw it as a way out of like, okay, I can talk to a girl and I'm not getting all those feelings. And again, dating apps allow you to essentially talk to people without getting all the anxiety and all that stuff. You can just talk to a screen instead of actually having that. So for me, it was like a cheat code. I was like, man, I can talk to women. I was like, this is so cool. I can talk to women. And I don't feel any of the anxiety and everything I would normally feel when I was talking to women. It was great. So it was a great escape. But the downside of that is as you went in on that journey on dating apps, and as I went through my journey on the dating apps, is I realized that I would essentially get to the point where I would go and I'd be so ready to ask them on a date, but I would keep pushing it along. I'd keep going and I'd be like, I'd extend the conversation. My messages would go from here all the way to like here. And then I'm having like full on conversations on the dating app, actually never getting off the dating apps. There were a couple of opportunities where I actually got off the apps and I went on the dates. And with those opportunities, what happened is I went on the dates and I was like, man, this person is like completely different from what I would expect. Like the conversation was great, but as soon as you meet them in real life, some of them can't talk. Like I couldn't talk.
Like what's the biggest example? What's one that sticks out to you?
The one that really sticks out to me, and I hate it because it's the most shallow thing ever, is I was speaking to this girl on the dating app and I was like, okay, this is really cool. I'm gonna meet her at Starbucks. I don't know what it was. I went into Starbucks, sat down with her, she opened her mouth, and I did not like her voice for whatever reason. And just that alone sounded red bells in my head. I was like, why am I judging a person like this? This doesn't make any sense. But I was judging her on her voice.
But knowing you, you wouldn't judge someone on your voice. I think it was an unease.
I think I think it came from like that was me being scared to connect. And like I finally got to, that was the first date I ever had off a dating app. That was off Tinder. I was like, let me just ask this girl out to like the Starbucks or whatnot. Talk for a little bit. I was like, okay, let's ask her. And I think I got freaked out. And then went on that date and I ghosted her. Okay. Right. So that was my first experience on a dating app. Ghosted. And I look at yeah, I did the classic ghost.
Learning about you. Okay.
I did the classic ghost, and I was young again. I used to be super introverted, so the dating apps were an escape for me to essentially try to build what was called human connection, or try to connect with somebody to see if we liked each other. Yeah. You'd feel a little bit of chemistry, but it wasn't nearly the same as you would get in person.
Well, dating apps, I have many male friends who have gone on dating apps and are entirely discouraged from dating apps. And there's actually a lot of data that shows that men go through a lot from being on dating apps, women as well. But I think that the data points that the problems for both genders they show up differently. Mm-hmm. And one article that really stuck out was an article called "Are Dating App Algorithms Making Men Lonely? And Does This Present a Public Health Concern?" So some findings were that dating app algorithms are primarily designed to maximize user engagement and subscriber value rather than facilitate healthy long-term relationships. Is it a public health concern? We think so.
Yeah, absolutely.
We think so. And here's the data. Given the widespread reliance on dating apps, and that's the key that we think, right? It's the reliance. Not the existence, maybe, but the reliance. Because the world is full of so many things and so many choices, right? But it's become the dominant form of connectivity.
Because it's easy.
Yeah. Given the widespread reliance on dating apps for meeting partners and the growing prevalence of mental health disorders like depression and anxiety, the negative psychological effects of these apps do constitute a public health concern. Those are the findings. Those are some pretty big findings. That's a scholarly article.
That's huge.
As well, right? This is a scholarly journal.
Yeah, and it's insane.
I'm sure UFT has that article in their library. So.
Yeah. Shout out UFT. Shout out UFT. There's something that I've...
Follow us.
All right, back to serious. There's something that I've found and I've realized with the dating apps, even with Instagram. And one of the things, and Instagram actually said that now you can hide your likes because it's been such a problem. And people are equating the amount of likes that they get on Instagram. They're equating the amount of likes that they get on a dating app to their worth, especially the guys. Guys, we want a couple things in this life. We want meals to be made for us, and we want to feel like we're providing, we're important, all that kind of stuff. If we're able to provide, we're able to feel like we're important, we're actually doing good, and we're able to do our masculine traits, then we're winning. But if our worth is equated to likes on a screen, and we're like, and we can't even get on dates, it's insane. It's fuck.
Sounds really depressing.
There are some guys out there that struggle to even get like one fucking like. I have friends that cannot even like, they delete the app, then they reinstall it, they delete the app and they reinstall it, even girls. And it's all because they get on it and they get totally discouraged because they're like, okay, I put all this time and effort in my profile and nobody likes me. Like that's the message that a dating app is sending you. And these apps, they want to keep you on the app nonstop. Like that is their one goal. Hinge, and there's all the major dating apps are my one freaking company, and that company's goal, I think it's called Match Group. That one goal of that company is to keep you on the app as long as possible. Mm-hmm. They don't care if you go on dates. All they care is that you continue swiping right on.
I call it swipe a person. I've called it swipe a person ever since.
Yeah, and we actually we were out on the street. We were doing street interviews. One of the guys that we were at the Eden Center, he had called them ugly dating apps. And now I know why.
Yeah.
You know, they turn people into just fucking. It's almost like you're swiping on like a LinkedIn profile. I do not want to judge somebody by a profile they're able to create. I don't want to be like, I used to be in recruitment. I don't want to be reading resumes. I don't need to read a resume. I would so much more prefer to go in person and feel somebody's energy. I've had, even though right now I've gone through my journey, I actually hired a dating coach back in 2022. I'm trying to get my math right. I hired a dating coach back in 2022. Shout out Mark Singh. I improved my social skills, and he actually is a big advocate of getting off the apps. Like, yeah, you can use them to connect, but really focus on dialing in your social muscle. And through being on the apps for so many years, and then going through a transition to him advocating for go out and talk to 20 new people a week, go have those conversations, start building relationships, get your phone numbers, focus on cold approach, meeting people in person, go to events. That changed my entire perception of everything, because I was on the apps. I was hoping to find a person. I was like, hey, if I create the most perfect profile, they're going to see, like I was vegan at one time. They're going to see I'm vegan. I'm going to be able to attract a vegan. She's going to be in fitness and all this stuff. And it didn't work. It really didn't work. Mm-hmm. And when you did get to that person that was like almost perfect, you're almost scared to go on a date with them, because you're like, fuck, they are so perfect. I got to be so perfect in every single move I make. I got to pick the perfect place for a date, as opposed to meeting somebody in person. I have met some of the most amazing people over the past 2 years in person through just approaching strangers. And it did not come from the dating apps. The best connections in my life did not come from a dating app.
What's crazy to me, what sticks out is...
Except one. I lied. There's been one person that's been in my life that has come from a dating app. We ended up being friends. And we're still friends. Shout out L. But yeah, that's the only good connection I've had from a dating app.
Yeah.
Other than that, they've been a wreck.
What's crazy to me is you talk about being on the app and having the interaction be app central, leading to you feeling like it has to be perfect.
Yeah.
When human connection literally is rooted in imperfection.
Yeah.
Which is crazy to me, because my experience has been so different, and I'm thinking, holy shit, like I've never had the experience of feeling like I need to be perfect, or that someone is going to be perfect, ever.
Yeah.
And that was Siri or whatever it is.
That's what I figured.
Can you turn off? Bro, like, go goodbye. Siri.
All right.
Siri, goodbye.
So the next topic that we want to talk to you about tonight is something that actually came up the day that Matthew and I got together and we're talking about all the different relationship issues that are going on in people's lives, but specifically generation to generation. And I was saying that a lot of my friends, a lot of my really close friends were going through separation and divorces. And, you know, it seemed as if that particular challenge in life was really prominent for seems like large numbers of people in Gen X. And through our data and research that we've uncovered, we actually found that the most common time to go through a separation and divorce is at the age of 43. And it's usually around the 7th year of marriage. Now that can be obviously if you get married younger or at a different time, but that's what the data has shown, that usually around the 7-year itch, they call it, and the age of 43. And we talked a lot about what that means for people getting back out there into the dating world when they have maybe been married for decades and are not used to what's become a digital landscape in a romantic context. So what I started to do was connect with a lot of people in my life who are going through these situations. But it's not only that. In my life, I've actually been on the front lines of divorce with a close family member. And like I just mentioned, a handful of my friends. I've handled a divorce of a close family member from end to end. And I've coached a lot of my friends through their separations and divorces. I've had a front row seat for the precise kind of chaos, pain, and I would say anguish that separation and divorce bring to someone's life. And I'd like to speak to you about some data surrounding separation and divorce in later years. I found one particular study conducted in 2023 analyzed posts from people in their 60s that were navigating divorce. They didn't just mention mourning their own marriage. They mentioned mourning their dating skills. So after decades of marriage, it felt like starting over with no manual, no apps, and no confidence, because their identities had been so tied in a romantic context to the partnership that had then dissipated, that they were almost left with a sense of not knowing where to go from there. That's huge.
Absolutely.
And then similarly, another article took a look at men in their 40s and 50s and felt that many men felt intimidated by dating in today's world. They were unfamiliar with apps and unsure how to interact with modern women. Because if you've been in a marriage for so long, like I know in my life, I have many people that I've seen be in a marriage for so long and then go through a separation and divorce. So once you've been in that partnership, you don't need to learn, how to swipe, how to be on the apps.
Yeah.
And that even, connecting romance with a screen probably seems unimaginable
daunting.
At some point, right?
Seems daunting.
Yeah. So that's where Fix Your Fate really comes in.
Absolutely.
We're not just motivational, but we're a practical toolkit that can help you to rediscover yourself, rediscover connection, and also relearn the art of being seen and loved. We know that this is an issue for Gen X and even for boomers. The data is out there, but it's not only the data that allows us to know how big of a problem this is. I've seen it in my family and in people in my friends group. And we've learned from the market research we've done from many of our on the street interviews. You can remember how many people that we met that told us about their separation and divorce stories.
Some that didn't even want to get back into any relationships after they've gone through so many horror stories.
Yeah.
We know this is an issue, but we also know that you have to get back to the root of human connection.
And we know that we have some tools
in our toolbox
to help you do that.
Quite a few, actually. We got a couple of tools.
Yeah.
But there's something for everybody, regardless of where you're at in your journey, whether you're tipping toeing into the dating pool for the first time ever and you're a young Gen Zer, or whether you're a boomer and you're just looking for that last companion to give you that human connection that you desire. There's something for everybody, and there's something for everybody at any point in your journey.
And I mean, Bethany Frankel, for example, stated that going through a divorce was literally one of the most painful experiences of her entire life. She mentioned the word anguish. And that's actually what a lot of the people in my life have expressed. They've expressed feeling a loss of identity. They've expressed feeling a lack of confidence. They've expressed being entirely dissatisfied with going on apps, but that's the way that it is now. And almost like a helplessness. Well, what am I going to do? We're all in this collective journey together, moving where the world is moving digitally. But there's something very poignant and specific about what every generation will go through with the digital age in their own ways. For Gen X, going through separation and divorce and getting back out there into the dating world really means discovering a new form of themselves that may not fit with Swipe a Person. Curated matchmaking events put together with precise parts of your personality in mind, precise interests, walks of life, can be experiences that help you to feel okay. You know, there's a different way to do it that doesn't include staring at a screen and swiping and be feeling disposable and being treated in many regards as if you are disposable.
Let's get back to our roots. Let's get back to real human connection, connecting, as the kids say, IRL, in real life. Let's get back to real human connection where you can feel the chemistry, you can feel the sparks, and let's let those sparks fly.
Imagine being in rooms with like-minded people of your generation that have been curated for your sense of connectivity, your sense of fun, joy, enjoyment, all of it. When you're out there looking for someone, but it doesn't take place on a screen. It takes place in a room that's literally been curated and populated.
Just for you.
Yeah.
Furthermore, imagine if you had no profile to judge, just chemistry and connection.
Imagine if the creation of these rooms were supported by really in-depth, unique life experiences, life journeys, and extensive amounts of market research and data.
We decided to fix this problem with what we're calling Fix Your Fate events. These are going to be curated events, invite only, meaning you are going to create a profile, but you're not going to be on an app. You're going to create a profile, let us know what you want in a partner, and then from there, we are going to send you all these different events that we think would be perfect for you to find your person.
Imagine every room had people of your generation, people who know your generation's unique struggles with connectivity and romance at this point in life. Imagine that there were people that shared similar life experiences and also similar problems and challenges that go along with finding a partner at this particular time and this particular phase in your life.
Imagine if you were in a room with people who had the same goals, passions, interests as you.
Imagine if it felt the way it used to feel when we actually used to connect.
Imagine if you had no profile to judge, just chemistry and connection.
Imagine if a smile actually made you smile as opposed to wonder what's behind it when you swipe.
Imagine if you could feel that spark for the first time, like the Disney movies, like all the movies that you watch.
The intent behind Fix Your Fade is to revive real human connection because we believe that human connection is at the core of what makes us happy, what brings us joy, what brings us peace. And that real success is that inner peace. We intend to bring that back through the curated matchmaking events that we do, and also to bring connectivity, information, experts, relationship building on our podcast.
To support your efforts at the events. So if you come to one of our events and you're like, okay, I had a great time, but I think I need some more help, jump on the podcast. We're going to have experts in the dating and relationship realm that are going to speak game. They're going to speak about how to connect, and they're going to speak on topics that are going to help you in your dating life.
Imagine you could turn on a medium, a digital medium, and see topics that are relevant to your generation today being discussed on a podcast. Imagine that there were experts being brought onto this podcast that are speaking to you, what you're going through, your unique struggles, their unique struggles, bringing forth the data, fun in delivery, but really getting down to the real topics and the real issues that we're all facing in different ways, but actually still at the same core issue is why can't we fucking connect anymore today? And what is it doing to us?
Imagine these experts showed you the roadmap to fixing some of these problems and stuff that we discussed. Imagine how good it would make you feel. Imagine there was one place on the internet where you could find the solutions to all of your dating problems.
Finally, imagine that the people running this company are in and of themselves transformational coaches that are here to offer additional support, guidance, expert coaching on the issues that go along with dating that you might have at your particular juncture in life. Well, that's myself and that's Matthew. Mm-hmm. And where we come from and why we do this is rooted not in academic learning or reading or engaging just with data or content, but really comes from unique, hard-won stories that have shown us how important this topic is to our world. Because first it became important to us, and that's how we're different. Our unique journeys through this life that have taught us and showed us how important human connection is are what drives us to do this mission. Our journeys are the reason why we're here. Again, and I've said it before, we know the power of human connection. And we've learned it in very hard-won ways throughout all of our life's challenges, struggles, successes, wins, everything. And we're here from that place.
I've gone from scared introvert to absolute people-loving extrovert that's crazy enough to walk up to a stranger and say, hey, how's it going? How's your day going today?
I've gone from dysfunction to delinquent to degenerate to addict to Ontario scholar to someone with 3 degrees who's traveled the world and done leadership training, coaching training, entrepreneurial projects, aspects, but more so, and what's most important, is that I've gone from all of those things to someone who's done their own work on every step of that and at every step of that. And who is someone today whose mission it is to lead with love. And to someone whose mission it is today to take all of those challenges and all of those lessons and say to herself, how do I best serve the world with everything I've learned and everything I've been through? What can I bring to this world that it needs? And the answer is this mission to revive human connection is a culmination of all of those things and all of those lessons learned. Our mission is to change the world.
Through the power of human connection.
Imagine someone who's gone through all of those struggles, all of those challenges, all of those life phases, the ups and downs of it, and has taken all of those lessons and chooses to live her life through relentless courage and leadership. And that's me. And my co-founder, Matthew Lewis Gallant, and I are here, not saying that we'd like to fix anyone, but before we even suggest that we can change anything, we want you to know that we've changed ourselves. We have fixed ourselves
first.
We want to thank UFT for their future sponsorship of our podcast.
We're not going to stop until we get it.
We love you too.
Kind of.
Good.
Don't worry, we'll fix your fate too. All right, so it's been a rather long episode, but we love it because it's the pilot and y'all got to get to know us. But now it's challenge time. Let's talk about the Fix Your Fate challenge. This is going to be something that comes up every single week. We're going to give you guys some actionable advice that you could take into your personal and professional life to start reviving human connection in line with our mission. So for this week, this little devilish thing has been hurting humans for a while now. Most of us unknowingly. There's a thing called screen time. Now, there's an app I want you to use and download to measure. It's a free app. It's called Opal, OPAL.so. Go download that app. That is going to allow you to not only measure screen time, but block all the distracting apps. If you're going to do one thing from this episode, I would bring a bit of awareness to how much time you're spending on your phone. Understand the amount of hours that you're putting in on a daily basis and a weekly basis, and think about, what if I put those hours into building relationships, calling that friend, going on that date, doing all these other things, as opposed to being on our phones and doom scrolling. So that's your challenge this week. Track your screen time. Drop it down in the comments. Let us know where are you at with your screen time. I'm hoping it's going to surprise you and it's going to get you to act and move in the other direction towards human connection. That's episode 1, but we got some really cool stuff coming soon, including 2 very special guests that are near and dear to our hearts.
In alignment with taking a look at the precise issues that go along with Generation X, post-separation and divorce, we have 2 amazing guests. One, Joe Correa, a Gen Xer who has a phenomenal story of transformation, growth, and separation and divorce himself, sharing some really vulnerable and interesting insights on the dating landscape as it now is and how he has traveled through this journey of separation and divorce, then putting himself back out there in the dating world. Then there's KK, who will be a series regular on our show and is full of wit, wisdom, insight.
She's wittier than me.
Charisma for years. KK has so much to say about what it's like to get back out there into the dating world post-separation and divorce and really find yourself in a whole and healthy way in ways that you never really imagined before. She's amazing.
Yeah, I think you guys are going to love her. That is us wrapped up for episode number 1. One of very many. Like we said, we already got some reoccurring guests in mind. They're going to come and join us in the podcast. Add some light to the darkness in our world through amazing conversations. What I want you guys to do, if you love this episode, go subscribe down below. Share it with somebody else who's going through it or who needs a bit of light in their world. And anybody that wants to join the conversation. We want to spread this message far and wide. Help us do so. Hit the subscribe button, share with a friend. We love you guys.
Thanks for being there, guys. I want to thank the University of Toronto for following us, and thanks for tuning in. See you next time.
It's the most obnoxious goodbye ever.
I know, I felt like you were 7.